Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I would be teaching you part of the syllabus called Enterprise, Business Growth and Size. That's 1.3 by the way. Out of which we'll be talking about right now 1.3.1 Enterprise and Entrepreneurship. Out of which I'll be explaining you the first point, characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. To start with this, let me rephrase. Let me re-explain. What is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is that a person, an entity, a company that brings the three things together: land, labor, capital. When somebody brings all of them together for a common goal, he or it, a company or a person, is called an entrepreneur. Okay, now what are the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur? That's the first point in the syllabus. So what do you mean by characters of an entrepreneur? Characters of an entrepreneur basically means, what do you need to become a successful entrepreneur? What should you have inside you to be a successful entrepreneur? Okay, so basically how to become a successful entrepreneur is basically the characters of entrepreneur. Anyway, so there are some things you actually need to become a successful entrepreneur. And this is almost common in every entrepreneur that has ever become successful. Okay, you can't just enjoy your life and be an entrepreneur. Okay, you need to have certain things inside you to become a successful entrepreneur. Okay, so what do you need? You need to be hardworking. Okay, long hours, short weekends. So basically Sunday is not a holiday. Okay, Sunday is a working day. Long hours, short holidays. Okay, that is the main part of an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur is this guy who is not interested in a job. Okay, he doesn't want to work for somebody, he wants to work for himself. When you work for yourself, you don't count the hours. Is it 5 o'clock? I've got to go home. Is it 8 o'clock? Somebody's waiting for me at home. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, basically in a job you have your timings, right? You come 8 o'clock, you go 5 o'clock, and that's it, you're done. Okay, doesn't matter what happens to the company after you're gone. Okay, but if you're an entrepreneur, it matters to you what happens to the company after you're gone. Okay, you are responsible for everything, good, bad, ugly. You're responsible for everything. Okay, so this is the hard working. Okay, you need to work hard. Okay, this is the first character of a successful entrepreneur. If you're not hard working, okay, you can never run a business. Okay, and that's not actually a very nice thing, is it? Anyway, next thing we need is a risk taker, somebody who can take risks. Okay, making decisions to produce goods and services that people might buy is potentially risky. Okay, so for example, I'm making this video. Okay, you might not be interested in watching it. Okay, you might be having a business study exams tomorrow and you might be interested in watching this. Okay, because I've seen in every video, they will explain you, they'll give you a lot of points and that's it. Okay, that is called learning. Okay, I gave you all the characters of entrepreneur and you're quite happy with it. Now, okay, you need to understand. Okay, there is a difference between learning and understanding a point. If you learn a point, for example, what are the characteristics of a businessman? You just list the characters and you are never the wiser that what do they actually mean. Okay, my topic is to explain to you what they actually mean, so you don't actually have to learn anything. Okay, you know it. Okay, once you understand the topic, you will never have to go and learn it. Okay, you'll just have it in your memory. Okay, so second is risk taker. This guy, the entrepreneur, takes a lot of risks. Okay, he takes a lot of decisions, what good to produce, what services to give, and how much to keep the cost and all, right? But he has no idea that will people buy my things? Okay, so he is a risk taker. Okay, he takes risks, he spends his money, he spends his time, okay, and he doesn't even know whether the outcome would be favorable or not. Okay, there is a point where you can do market research and find out, but risk is still involved. Okay, you might make something, okay, and nobody would buy it. I give you an example of that. Coca-Cola. Okay, everybody knows Coca-Cola. Nobody is unfamiliar with Coca-Cola. It's in the world, everybody knows about it. Now Coca-Cola went ahead and made a vanilla Coca-Cola. I'll put a picture here. Okay, vanilla Coca-Cola. Okay, they did their market research and they found out that people wouldn't like it. Okay, but they were proud. Okay, they said, we are Coca-Cola. Okay, we can sell vanilla Coca-Cola. Okay, and guess what? They failed. Okay, because people don't like it. Okay, so Coca-Cola I suppose they spend billions and billions of dollars making vanilla Coca-Cola, and they lost. Okay, have you ever seen a vanilla Coca-Cola? Well, you might not have. 99% you've not even heard about it. Okay, why? Because nobody liked it. They couldn't sell it. Okay, when they couldn't sell it, you don't know about it. I don't know about it. Nobody knows about it. Okay, but I've done a research on this, so I would know, wouldn't I? Anyway, so that's the risk-taking part. You take a risk. Even your Coca-Cola, the whole world knows you. Still, you couldn't sell vanilla Coca-Cola because people just won't buy vanilla Coca-Cola. They still buy Coca-Cola. They would still go ahead and buy Coca-Cola. To this day, they buy Coca-Cola, but they wouldn't buy vanilla Coca-Cola. Number third, that you need to be creative. A new business needs new ideas about products, services, ways to attract customers and to make a difference with our existing firms, with other existing firms. Okay, so you need to be creative. Okay, you can't just, like 100 million people are selling chocolates and you just start making chocolates and start selling them. Okay, but you need to be creative. I am not saying you can't sell chocolate nowadays. You can sell chocolates, but you need to be different. Okay, how are you different from any other person who's selling chocolates, for example? Okay, you need to be different. You need to be creative. Okay, different doesn't always mean you have to have a better taste than people who are already there. Difference can mean you have to have, I don't know, maybe excellent stores. Maybe your stores need to be 50 times more better than anybody else's stores. Maybe your package style needs to be, I don't know, maybe nobody's packing it in something and you pack it in something special and you present it in a way that people would like it. Okay, so that is creative. You need to create things. You need to create advertisements. You need to attract customers. So as long as you are creative and you can attract customers, you can attract people to your product, you can still sell chocolate, even though 100,000 other people are still selling chocolates. And the best attraction is low prices, but not always. You see, when you go to the shop, you don't look for the cheapest chocolate in the shop, right? So you look for this one brand, a Galaxy, a Mars chocolate that you specifically need. Okay, and if a new player is going to come into the market and he's going to maybe, let's say, copy Mars, the taste of Mars, if they're to copy the taste of Mars, okay, they need to be 100 times better presenters. They need to present it in such a way that people would love it. Okay, if they don't present it in such a way, then why would you ever leave Mars and come to another chocolate? And price does play a role, okay, but not always. If you like Mars, and nobody else can do anything about it. Even if they put the lowest price in the market, you're still not interested because Mars is Mars, and that's about it. Okay, so creative. Hopefully you understand that. Optimistic. Okay, another thing here you need to be a successful businessman is optimistic. Looking forward to a better future is essential if you're thinking only about failure, you will fail. Okay, so you need to look for a better future. You need to not look, you need to make your future better. Okay, so if you were always disappointed, like that's what they will say, good, keep good company. Okay, if you have a bad company, they will not encourage you, they will discourage you. When they discourage you, then you will lose yourself in it. You see, for example, you have a friend that encourages you all the time. Oh my God, you're such a nice singer, or you're such a nice, I don't know, piano player or guitar player. Even you might not be the best person, not the best piano player, but they'll encourage you to do more, to be creative, to, to be optimistic. In other words, okay. So if a guy puts you down all the time, they go like, you can't play music. Okay, you're no good. You're ugly. Okay, then there is no point. Okay, you cannot win. Okay, because you're down all the time. You're like mentally stressed. Okay, so you need to first of all keep positive company, right? But in other words, you need to be optimistic. You need to look for a good future, because if you always think about failing, you most probably fail. Okay, so positive mind, positive thinking, that is optimistic for you. Anyway, self-confident. Okay, that is another point. Being self-confident is necessary to convince other people of your skills, and to convince banks, other leaders and customers that your business is going to be successful. Okay, so you need to be self-confident. Okay, you need positivity. Okay, when you ask a bank for a loan for your business, even though you might have the best business plan, best whatever, the best idea in the world, if you're not positive about it, your heart does not agree with you, and you're not totally positive about the outcome, then you can't convince other people to give you money to start your business. And if you can't convince other people to give you money to start your business, then you can't actually start a business. You need to be positive. Other people, business means other people needs to trust you. If other people need to trust you, you need to make them trust you. Not everybody just trusts you because you are you. Okay, they would trust you because you are damn positive about it, and you can achieve it, and you are positive, so they will be positive. Positiveness spreads like a virus. And being self-confident is one thing. Okay, innovative, being able to put new ideas into practice in interesting and different ways is also important. Okay, so you need to think of new ideas. You need to figure out, I don't know, if this screwdriver is this screwdriver, okay, how can I improve it? Okay, not improve it in a sense that it'll become expensive. Improve it in a sense that people would like it. Okay, you need to make stuff. You need to think of existing things and how to make them better. Okay, because tell you the truth, in this day and age, I'll be surprised if you can find anything new. Okay, everything has been done and said. Okay, and now if you are innovative and you pick up old things and you make them interesting, and that is one of the ways to become a successful entrepreneur. Pick up existing things, make them interested. Okay, one thing that a business needs is very important, is independent. Entrepreneurs will often have to work on their own before they can afford to employ others. Entrepreneurs must be well motivated and be able to work without any help. Okay, you need to be independent. Okay, people don't trust you, people don't know your ideas, people can't match your level of brain. Okay, and you need to figure out new things and work on your own, and you need to be motivated. You see, you need to be motivated. You need to maybe have a goal that you need to achieve. Okay, and set at that goal and be at that goal, and don't waver from that goal. Okay, so this is what you need. You need to be independent. You don't need to depend on anybody, because as soon as you depend on somebody, they will leave you. Okay, they are not interested. The people, not everybody wants to be a businessman, not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to earn money nevertheless, but nobody actually wants to work for it. So if you are an entrepreneur, you want to be an entrepreneur, first you need to work yourself. You need to prove your theories. As soon as you've proven your theories, then you can employ people. you know for example, you've done something like, I'll give you an example. I made a video about Carl's Benz. Video over here. I made a video about Carl's Benz. This Carl's guy, this guy made Benz. And how did he make Benz? He made Benz, Mercedes Benz. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Mercedes Benz. He made Mercedes Benz in his garage. He made the world's first gasoline engine. Imagine that. Okay. The guy did it with the help of his wife. Wife was financially sound, and he was not. He was a very poor person. Okay. And they sat in their garage and they made a engine. So in this bubble, you can see the full story. Okay. But this guy was independent. This guy was so motivated that he had to make it, like he had no other choice. He had no ships to sail. All his ships were burned. Okay, all he could do was get a new idea. So he made a world's first petroleum engine. Okay, you must see this video. This video is really interesting. I found this to be the best video ever. So he was independent. He made a petroleum engine by scrap parts, and after he's done so, he put it in France and people really liked it. And now you and me travel in a automobile. In a car. And this car was made by this guy in his garage. Okay. So not many big companies were involved in making the world's first engine. However, they are involved now, aren't they? Right? So this is Carl Benz, right? This guy thought of this new engine and he made it work, and he proved to the world, I am an entrepreneur. Okay, I will become a big businessman. And people spend money, they spend millions and millions of money to make it. But first, he proved that he can make it. He can do it. Okay, then people spent money. People did not spend money on a hunch. Okay, so this is one of the things, being independent. Okay, the last but not least thing you need to be a successful businessman is effective communicator. You need to be an effective communicator, talking clearly and confidently to the bank, other lenders, customers, and government agencies about the new business will rise profile of the new business. Okay, so you need to be really good communicator. So if you do not communicate properly, communication does not only mean you need to talk properly. Okay, that is not communication. Okay, talking properly, me talking properly in a clear language, me explaining to you, that is not the whole communication. Okay, to be an effective communicator, you need to communicate with your face. You need to communicate with your expressions. You need to communicate with the clothes that you're wearing. You need to communicate with what you are doing. Okay? Your appearance matters a lot. So this is being an effective communicator, means you need to be able to communicate your point. Okay? People need to know that you're serious. People need to know that you are working on something. You're not just like passing time. I'll give you a small example. Okay, everybody's heard of Body Shop. Yes, obviously everybody's heard of Body Shop. Okay, no big deal. Okay, how did this Body Shop thing start? This woman, the owner of Body Shop, okay, she was out in buying groceries one day. Okay, and she had this big business plan of opening a shop with half natural products and God knows and whatnot, and she went to the bank, right? She had a bank appointment. She went to the bank to ask money to start a shop called Body Shop. And she went shopping. Obviously, she had some time to kill, so she went shopping. She put all the groceries and she put it in the room, in the manager's room. And she went and sat down and she talked about, her successful plan and stuff. The guy rejected the business plan, right? He rejected it outright. Okay, because he was like, this is just another mom. Okay, she's not interested in business, she cannot run a business. Okay, so what she did is she went back home. Okay, she borrowed a business suit, and she bought her a business suit for her husband. Okay, and basically they rented costumes, right? So they went to the costume shop and they bought clothes, nice business looking clothes for females and male, right? They dressed up properly, they put their papers in a nice file, and then they made an appointment with the manager again. They went to the same room. The guy did not recognize her. He did not recognize the plans that she gave him. Okay, and he passed the business, he gave them the loan, and now everybody knows about this big body shop. Okay, so this is my example. Okay, to be an effective communicator, it's not, the whole part is not speaking. That's just like 20% of it. Okay, you need body language, you need clothes, you need you need to communicate with everything. You need to communicate with emotions. Okay, people are not only listening to you, they're looking at you. There are many senses, they're looking at you, they're feeling you, they can think what you're thinking, right? So you need to be effective in that. So effective communicator, imagine the woman, same business plan, only she changed her appearance, she changed her look, and she gave the same business plan and it got approved. And the manager, he did not recognize the plan because he never bloody looked at it, did she? He never looked at the plans because he thought she was not interested. She's just another person who needs loan, and she's not interested and she cannot run a business. All she did was change her clothes, change the way she filed everything, right? And there we go. We have an effective entrepreneur. So everybody knows business, a body shop nowadays, right? So there we are. So effective communicator is very important. Let me recap, because I think we have almost covered this point of it. Characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. Okay, you need to be hardworking, you need to be a risk taker, you need to be creative, you need to be optimistic, self-confident, innovative, independent, and effective communicator. Ending this topic, I will quickly go through the advantages and disadvantages of a entrepreneur. So why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Advantages. Okay, advantages is you're independent. You're able to choose how to choose your time. What do you do with your time, with your money? You can choose that yourself. Okay, so that is advantages, right? Another advantage is able to put own ideas into practice, right? So you might like something, you might like a tool or something, right? But then you can make it better. Okay, you think you can make it better, so you have an advantage. You can put your forward, you can put your positive foot forward, and you can innovate. Okay, so you can make your own ideas come to practice. You will be really famous if your business grows. Okay, so that's one point. You'll be really famous. Like, think about famous people. I see Apple coming up. Okay, so you can think of famous people. So if your idea works out, you will become famous. Okay, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, right? You've all heard of him, right? Why? Because he made an idea, he made it to practice, he became successful, and now he is really famous. Anyway, maybe profitable, and the income might be higher than working as an employee for another business. Okay, so if your business becomes successful, it might not. Okay, mind you, it might not. Okay, if it does become successful and turns out people really needed this one thing that you were to create, that you created, okay, you might earn more than working for someone. Okay, you would earn more than working for someone anyway. Okay, having a business is better than working for someone anyway. Able to make use of personal interests and skills. Okay, so if you're interested in something and if you have a skill, okay, this is my skill. Okay, I am PhD in business studies, right? I can teach people O-level business studies. That's kid stuff. Okay, that's really easy for me. Okay, might not be for you. Okay, it would be soon enough. Okay, after you go through my lecture, I will make you a master in business and you will get an A score. Okay, so I'm using my skill to teach you. Okay, because I have this knowledge already. So I would like to pass it on. Okay, so same thing you can do if you're interested in something. Okay, you have a skill in something. Okay, skill might be technical, might not be technical. Okay, then you can pass your skill on, you can pass your ideas on, and people might like it, and you might become successful and famous and earn more money. Okay, so with every advantage comes disadvantages, right? So let's talk about disadvantages. Risk. You see, many new entrepreneur businesses fail, especially if they're poor planning. Okay, so you need to plan ahead. Okay, we'll cover this very soon. Okay, so there is a risk. Okay, you might not earn a single penny. Okay, you might lose all your money, you might lose your time. Okay, and at the end of the day, you might be worse off than you were. Okay, so there is a risk involved, so that's a disadvantage. There is a capital involved. Entrepreneurs will have to put their own money into business and possibly find a source of capital. Okay, so that's a disadvantage. You need to put your own money in there, and there is a lot of risk. You might lose all your money, and then where do you stand now? Right, so that's a disadvantage. Okay, lack of knowledge and experience in starting and operating a business. Okay, so if you do not know how to start a business, you might as well leave it at that, right? You might as well not start it. Okay, so first of all, you need to go through the background. You need to know how a business works in order to start a business, right? So if you're working for somebody and you think, well, I am running the whole business, he has no idea. My God, the entrepreneur has the idea. He knows what he's doing, right? So that's why he's an entrepreneur and you're still working for him. Okay, so if you haven't, you might be lacking the essential knowledge to get you to where you want to go. Okay, so you might have a lack of knowledge which will fail your business. Okay, so you need to know where to buy things, where to sell things and stuff like that in order to be profitable. So that's a disadvantage. You see, you might lack the knowledge and you'll fail. Okay, there is an opportunity cost, lost income from not being employed in other businesses, right? So there is an opportunity cost. Okay, I've explained the opportunity cost in the last video. Opportunity cost, the lost opportunity cost is the time you spend making your business, the time you spend planning your business might all be lost. And you might, like, let's say you were working and employed in some place and you were earning, let's say, $5,000 a week, $5,000 a month. Okay, and then suddenly you want to start your own business. You leave that job, you come to a different business, you want to start your own business, so you're planning a business, so you leave that job, you start your own business, and then you're not successful. But by not only being not successful, you also lost the money that you might have gained working as an employee of someone else. So that's opportunity cost. You lose something to gain something, you might not gain it, and then you even lost what you were gaining at the first point. That's hard to understand, isn't it? Anyway, so that's it for the topic. Let's go to the next one. Okay, now we come to the second point in 1.3.1. The contents of a business plan and how business plans assist entrepreneurs. This is going to be a short one, but nevertheless, it is very important. Okay. How a business plan plan assists entrepreneurs. Okay, it is very important to understand a business plan, how a business plan works, and why do you need a business plan. Okay, the one example that the book gives is that you might ask a business a loan, and they would ask you for business plan. Can I have your business plan, please? What are you planning to do, right? So you need to put whatever your idea is on paper. Okay, so unless it is on a paper, okay, nobody knows what you're thinking. Okay, nobody wants to know what you're thinking, right? Nobody is a mind reader. Okay, so you need to put your ideas on a piece of paper, right? So a piece of paper, not exactly a piece of paper, you understand what I'm talking about. So you need to put it on paper, okay, in order for other people to read it, understand what you're talking about, and think about whether you're good or bad about it. You've all seen the show called Money Shark, right? Money Shark, is it called? Or what shark? Some people where they look at new business ideas and spend or not spend money on it. Everybody's heard of it. I'll put the right one here, right? So anyway, so What are business plans? What does the business plan consist of, right? It was very simple. Okay, you don't need to learn this part. You don't actually need to learn it. Just understand it. What do you think the business plan would consist of? Just give it an idea. Now, for example, you have an idea. Okay, I need to make the screwdriver. Okay, what should my business plan consist of? What products and services do I intend to provide to other customers I am aiming at, right? So you need to first point out, what am I producing? What exactly am I making? Yes, you know what you want to sell, but you need to put it on paper, okay, so other people can read it. So if you want to make a screwdriver, write that I want to make this screwdriver. Okay, it's just not, you don't just think about it, you write it down. Okay, you make a point. Yeah, I am, you know, what do I intend to provide a customer that I'm aiming at? First of all, you need to aim. For example, you need to aim for, like, let's say I'm talking about kids, I'm talking about adults, I'm talking about, what am I talking about? Who do I want to sell my product to? Who wants to buy my product? Okay, a kid 3 years old is not interested in this. He is not interested. He might pick it up and play with it for a minute or two, but he's not interested in a screwdriver. He'll just play with everything, really, right? He doesn't care. Okay, so you need to make sure, who are you aiming to? You're aiming to kids, you're aiming to adults, you're aiming to elderly, you aiming to, I don't know, single females, you aiming to single males, you aiming to married couple, you aiming to families. Who are you aiming for, and what are you selling to them? Okay, so that's the first point. Who are you selling it to, and what are you selling them? Okay, so that is the first point. Okay, you can elaborate on it as much as you want. Okay, but this is the first point of a business plan. What will be the main cost, and will enough products be sold to pay for them? Okay, so what is your main cost, okay, in making a certain thing? Okay, how much does it cost to make it? Okay, you need to research, you need to make sure you know how much the plastic will cost, how much, I don't know, any raw material that, the cost, how much will it cost? Okay, for example, a Coca-Cola has a container, and it has liquid inside, right? And it has printing on the outside, it has transport. So it's not that simple, you see. First of all, you need to make this can, you need to print on this can, you need to put Coke in there, you need to close it, and you need to transport it to customers. And then obviously, if you're transporting it to, let's say, a shop, okay, the shop needs to keep its profit, so you need to make sure that you keep your profits low, and you tell them a set target to sell. You can only sell it for this much, you cannot sell it for more than that much. They need to agree that, okay, this profit is enough for us. So that is the main cost, and will product sell to pay for them, right? Will you sell enough products? Okay, so what are the main cost of buying the raw material, making it ready for the customer, right? And second, will it sell? Like, you need to see examples. Okay, you need to do market research in order to find out that, will the product sell? Will people buy it? Okay, are people even interested in buying such a thing, right? So you need to include that in your business plan. Okay, where will the firm be located? Okay, so what is your location, your premises of business? Where is it? Okay, so you might not be in a posh place, right? So that is one thing you need to include. Where is your location? Are you starting from your garage? Are you starting from your bedroom? Or do you have a proper office, sitting in a proper place to start a business, right? So what are your premises? What is your location? And if people want to find you, where exactly can they find you? Okay, do remember, okay, the premises is very important. Okay, so if you're starting from your bedroom, not many people are interested. Okay, so I want something, okay, I come to meet you, and you call me to your bedroom, and I would be like, oh, okay, should I do business with this guy? He doesn't have a proper company, he doesn't have a proper registered name, he doesn't have anything, right? So I am taking a risk in doing business with you. Okay, so premises Where is your firm located? Okay, that is very important. The better the area, the better the premises, the better the office, the better you can, the more you can charge, really. The better I would think that your business is. You see? So location, location, location. Location is everything. Okay. For example, you're selling, I don't know, bakery products. Okay. And you're located in a very, not a very good idea, not a very good place. Okay. And I don't know, people come look at your shop and they go like, oh my God, I don't want to buy bakery products from this shop, you know. And the same shop, the same chef, the same thing, located in a better place with a better decoration, people would just blindly go and buy it and pay more than they usually pay. Okay, so location matters a lot. What machinery and how many people will be required in the business? This is one more, this is the last part that you need to include in your business plan. What machinery would you want to, what machinery would you have to buy in order to make whatever you're making? And then last but not least, how many people would be required except you, obviously. So if there is one more person required, then you are not counted, just one person is required, you see. So how many people are required in the business? The book says without this detailed plan, the bank will be reluctant to lend money to the business. This is because the owner of the new business cannot show that they have thought about it seriously. Okay, so you need to think about seriously. Okay, you don't only need to think about it seriously, you need to put it on paper. Okay, so people can read it and find out what your ideas are. You see, when you read a business studies book, okay, the guy who wrote the book is not sitting at home thinking about it. He wrote the book, he published it, and he gave it to you. Okay, so you can read his brain. Okay, I made a video on business studies and I gave it to you. If I have this knowledge and I kept it inside me, you will not be aware. So if I make a video, I send it to you, you look at it. Okay, this makes you aware of the knowledge. This makes you know what I am thinking about. This makes you think how I am thinking. So it gives you my thought. It kind of sends a message. So you need to put this in a business plan. Okay. So this covers contents of a business plan and how business plan assist entrepreneurs. Okay. So this is an example that book gives. Now let me give you another example. Okay. Or let me give you another thought. Okay. How does a business plan assist entrepreneurs? Well, if you put your thoughts on paper right now, okay, right now, you put it on paper as soon as you thought about it, okay, when you go forward, your priorities might change, okay, and you might not exactly be thinking whatever you're thinking right now, okay, you might start off with serving people and you might turn it into a profitable business. Then you can always look back to your business plan and keep yourself true to the original business plan. So that's one more way of how a business plan can assist an entrepreneur. Okay, you can always look back to your business plan and stay true to your original business plan, or keep this business plan will keep reminding you that you started by wanting to do a certain thing and you did not actually want to do another thing that you are doing right now, and then you're getting off track and stuff like that. So that's one more point of business plan. So I think that covers contents of business plan and how business plan assist entrepreneurs. Okay, now we come to the last part of 1.3.1. This is not the last of 1.3, enterprise business growth and size, but still the last point of entrepreneurship. Okay, the last point is why and how government support businesses starts up, therefore grants and training schemes, right? Why would a government help you in your business? Okay, so basically that's what it means. Why would a government help you in business? Can you answer this question? Okay, let me ask you, right? Stop learning things, okay? Start thinking about stuff, right? So my whole target is to put it in your brain, right? So why would a government help you? Like, can you think of a reason why government will help you in your business, and not necessarily everybody? For example, government encourages you to start new businesses. The more businesses you have, the better for the government, because they can charge you sweet tax, right? Anyway, that's one of the point that I made. The book didn't. Anyway, so the book says reduce unemployment. New businesses will often create jobs and help reduce unemployment, right? So you open a new business, right? For example, you need 10 people. As an initial startup, you need 10 people to be employed in order to be doing something, okay, in order to be producing something. So why would a government help you in grants or in lessons or teach you how to do business and stuff? Why? Okay, their only interest is that when you start your business, right now you're employing 10 people, in the future you employ 100 people, in the future you employ 1,000,000 people. Okay, how many people will you be able to employ? This is what a new business does, right? New business, when the government helps you, saves you on tax and stuff like that, okay, you will be able to grow. As soon as you will be able to grow, you will employ more people. When you employ more people, you reduce unemployment. Okay, so the government wants that. They want to reduce unemployment, and that's why they make your business, they help you in your businesses. They give you a tax break. They give you stuff, grants, trainings, okay, in order to make your business successful, so you can reduce unemployment. Anyway, second point, increase competitiveness. New business gives customer more choice and compete with already existing businesses. So for example, I remember in Saudi Arabia, I was there for a long time. They had one mobile network called STC, Saudi Telecommunications. Okay, they had Saudi Telecommunications. The rate of call, the amount of money you would spend making one call or sending one SMS was so expensive because they had no competition. Okay, so what did they do? Okay, they gave another permission to some other network called it's a Salat. Okay, and as soon as they gave them permission to start a new network, the STC had to put down their prices, because now they're competing. You see, so they're competing with another business, so they have to put down their price. Now they don't have monopoly anymore, so they have to put down their price. So increase competitiveness. The more competitive you are, when more people are doing the same thing, the more competitive you need to be. One thing that you would do is either put down prices to be more competitive, or you would give more favors, better plans, and better, I don't know, customer service, after return policies. The more you give it, the more competitive you will be, and the other services have to improve, because you are better than them. They will lose all the customers, right? So competitiveness is very important. Okay, so the government will help you and give you grants, so that a new business can come up and be more competitive than the existing businesses. So that's one. Anyway, the second one is increase output. The economical benefits from increased output of goods and services. So if you were to, let's say, start making breads, you'll be making more breads than yesterday. You see, for example, yesterday there were like 100 breads made in the country. Okay, you open a business and now you make 120, because you make 20, don't you? Right? So increased output. So you'll be making something. Okay, so increase output, you'll be making something, right? So when you be making something comes out of it. For example, let's say you were a farmer, right? And you start a new business. You put crops, you grow crops, right? When you grow crops, there is one more field that is growing crops. You see, for example, you were to grow apples. Okay, so there is one extra field of apple, right? So like, for example, the public was doing with 100 apples a month. Okay, now they will get 100, they'll get 200. Okay, because you've entered the business and now you're making more apples. Okay, for example. Okay, that's just an example, don't take it seriously. Okay, so there will be more output, and then if there is more output than the people can use in this country, then they will export. When they will export, they'll get export money and all that stuff. So increased output is one of them. You will benefit society. Okay, entrepreneurs may create social enterprises which offer benefits to society other than jobs and profits. For example, supporting disadvantaged groups in society. So when you become a successful and when you are profitable and all, right, you will benefit society. How will you benefit society? Maybe you will benefit society with giving out charity. Okay, maybe you will give charity to disadvantaged groups, the special groups. Okay, maybe you'll do something nice after you're successful and you're earning a lot of money. Then you will do something nice for the community. You give back to the community. Okay, maybe you'll make roads for the community. For example, you open a village, you open a factory in a village. Okay, and then no road goes to your factory, and then you offer to make a road for the whole village, so a road can come to your factory, right? So you are giving back to the community. You're making roads for them. Okay, maybe for example, you open a factory and there is no infrastructure for, let's say, electricity or water or something. Okay, and then you give back to the community, right? You make an infrastructure for electricity and water and all, right? So because your business needs it, that's one point. Okay, plus you will benefit the community, right? Then you will also teach people, the people in that village, you will teach them how to do your thing. Okay, so for example, if you're making, I don't know what you do in a factory, but if you're making something in your factory, you will teach the villagers how to make that thing, so they can tomorrow be your employees and they can come and work at your place, and you'll be more profitable because they charge less and stuff like that. So you will be giving, in short, you will be giving back to community. Okay, you will be giving back to community. You'll be training more people and all, making roads and making infrastructure, for your own self, and you're also giving it to community, right? So you might just benefit society altogether. Okay, can grow further. All large businesses were small ones, right? You understand that all large businesses were small ones. By supporting today's new firms, and governments may be helping some firms that grow to become very large and important in the future. Please do remember, everybody's heard of Google, right? Everybody's heard of Google. Okay, everybody knows Google. Even the illiterate people know Google. Okay, so Google was not always Google. Okay, Google was this guy. He had a spider. The search thing is called a spider. So he had this spider. He programmed this spider. He went to Yahoo. You know Yahoo, right? Nah, Yahoo. Most of the people don't know Yahoo nowadays. But Yahoo was a big thing long ago. Okay, this was like in another life or something, long ago. All right, when I was studying computers and all right, this was a big thing. Yahoo was a big thing. Okay, so this guy made a spider. The search engine, it's called a spider. The programming is called a spider. So he made a spider and he went to them and they said, buy my spider for $1 million. Buy my spider for $1 million. And they laughed at his face. Okay, they laughed at his face. They said, what the hell? We are Yahoo, for God's sakes. Okay, you are nobody. Your spider doesn't even, your spider is no good. Okay, so what did he do? He opened Google, didn't he? He opened Google, okay, and he used that special spider, okay, and that spider is now known as Google search. Okay, so businesses are not always large. You see, they don't start off large, they always start off small. Okay, but one day some of the businesses do become big. Okay, so if they support businesses today, they will benefit from it tomorrow. Okay, they will become big businesses, give back to the community, give more taxes and all that, and that is one of the reasons why government support businesses. Now this was the end of the topic called why and how government support businesses, startups, therefore grants and training schemes. So let me recap. reduced unemployment, increased competitiveness, increased output, benefits society, and can grow further. So with that, point 1.3.1 is covered, and hopefully you've understood the topic. Now we come to the next part of enterprise business growth and size. 1.3.2, the method and problems of measuring business size. Okay, subpoint, method of measuring business size. Therefore, number of people employed, value of output, capital employed. Profit is not a method of measuring business size. This is the syllabus. Okay, so now we come to comparing business sizes. Why do you need to compare business sizes? Who needs to compare business sizes, for example? Okay, why would you compare, and who would compare? Okay, investors are one people who would compare business sizes, see which business is bigger and smaller. They need to decide before they put their savings. Before the investors put their savings into a business, they invest it into a business, they need to see your business size. The second would be government. Government would need to see how big your or small your business is, to see which tax bracket you fall into. Okay. Third one would be competitors, to compare the size and importance of other firms. Okay, competitors need to see whether you are a competition at all. Okay, so competitors are going to compare your business size. They would need to compare your business sizes in order to see whether you are a bigger business or a smaller business, or even if you're in a competition with them or not. Okay, so that's competitors. Workers. Okay, workers, to have some idea of how many people they might be working with. Okay, so workers, before they're employed in your company, they need to see certain things. For example, how many people they will be working with, how reputed your company is. Does your company have a reputation, job security and stuff? They need to make sure that when they are employed in your company, their job is secure. So the bigger the company, the more secure their job is, because it is harder to fall. That's not always true, by the way. Anyway, so workers would need to see how big your company is, and if they can work in an environment of these number of people, like if they can work with 1 or 2 people, or if they can work it with 100 or 200 people, and whether they can work with them or not. Anyway, banks need to see how big your business is in order to maybe give you a loan, or if you need a loan and you ask for a loan, the banks will see if you tell them to invest in your company, for example, or you need a loan, or something like that. They need to see your size, the size of the company, so they can make a decision based on whether we want to give him a loan or we don't want to give him a loan, right? So banks would be interested. So investor, government, competitors, workers, and banks would be interested in comparing your business size. Now, how do you compare business size? No, profit is not the way to compare business size. No. That's not it. Even the syllabus says that's not it. Anyway, you would compare it in certain ways. Okay, number of employees. So how many employees do you have? That's one indication. Value of output. Okay, whatever you're producing. Okay, what is the value of that product? Okay, so that is one thing that you look at. Okay, value of your sales. Okay, do you sell enough products to be profitable? Okay, what are the values of your sales? And the value of capital employed. How much money, equipment, resources have you employed to run the business? Okay, now what the syllabus wants me to tell you, okay, are number of employees, value of output, and value of sales, and value of capital employed. What they also want me to tell you, okay, and that is, I think, yes, that's the second point. Limitation of methods of measuring business sizes. Okay, so we'll go to that. Okay, number of employees. This method is easy to calculate and compare with other businesses. Okay, so this is a very easy process. How many number of employees you have. Okay, but there are limitations, you see. The book says some firm uses production. Some firms use production methods which employ very few people but which produce high output levels. This is true for automated factories which use the latest computer controlled equipment. This firm are called capital intensive firms. They use a great deal of capital, high cost, for example, equipment to produce their output. Therefore, a company has high output levels could employ fewer people than a business with less output. Other problems, a problem is some two part-time workers who work half of the work each week be counted as one employee or two. So there are two limitations to this number of employees thing. Okay, you might have lots of machineries, right? You might have lots of machines. Okay, for example, in a table making business, okay, you might have one person cutting all the wood. Okay, you might have a big factory and you just have one person in one machine cutting all the boards, and it's cutting really fast because computers doing all the work. Okay, and it becomes very hard, but he's getting a big output. Okay, they've got a big output, means they can make lots of tables a day, but they're employed like very less people. Okay, so high output but employed less people, so that is one of the limitations. The other one is part-time employees is still counted as employee. Okay, a part-time employee or employee that worked for an hour or two a week or 1 or 2 days a week is still calculated as one employee. You can't have half an employee, can you? You can't have 1/4 of an employee. You have either one employee or zero employee. You can't have half an employee, 1/4 of an employee, 1/3 of an employee. You have one employee, right? So that is a limitation of how many people you employ. Okay, now we come to value of output. Okay, value of output is a common way of comparing business sizes in some industries, especially in manufacturing industries. But there is a limitation. Where does the limitation come in? You might only be producing very less things. Okay, but those things might be really, really expensive. Okay, so value of output does not take into account what your product is being sold for. You see, for example, Rolls-Royce makes 300 Rolls-Royce a year. Okay, they can make more if they increase their size, but they don't want to. This is their business strategy. They only make 300 Rolls-Royce to keep Rolls-Royce in really, really expensive, right? So if they were to make 500 Rolls-Royce, for example, per year, their Rolls-Royce would not hold the same value, would they? Would it? If everybody has a Rolls-Royce. So that's one. The value of output means the number of products that you make per year. Okay, so for example, if you are a bread making company, right? So your bread is really, 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 really cheap. For example, $1. Okay, now if your bread costs $1 and you're making, like, I don't know, 50,000 breads. Okay, so the value of output would be 50,000 breads. It doesn't matter whether your bread is $1 each. Okay, or for example, you're making high-end computers. Okay, each of your computer costs several dollars. Okay, cost maybe $100 to make. You sell your computer for maybe $100, but you're only making 500 computers a year. Okay, so even though you are earning more, value of output just means you're making 500 things. So if you're only making 500 of your products per year, then this is not a very, value of output is not actually a very good comparative size, because it doesn't take into account that how much you're earning per piece. Okay, now we come to value of sales. This is often used when comparing the size of retail businesses, especially retailers selling similar products, for example, food supermarkets. Okay, then value of sales becomes important. Okay, or this is one of the way to compare the value of a company. Limitations: it could be misleading to use this measurements when comparing the size of a business that sell very different products. For example, a market's stall selling sweets and a retailer of luxury handbags and perfumes. So for example, luxury handbags or perfumes, one handbag cost, I don't know, $600, right? But he only sells one a day. for example, and therefore 365 a year. Okay, and a supermarket would sell many hundreds of products a day, but each product costs less than one handbag. So value of sales, how much your products cost, no, how much you sell per day is not a very effective. So this is the limitation of value of sales. Value of capital employed, this means the total value of capital investment into your business, so therefore machinery and the equipment you have. Okay, this is a similar problem to the number of employees measure. A company employing many workers may use labor intensive methods to produce. These give low output levels and use less capital equipment. Okay, over here we're not talking about money, we're talking about equipment. Okay, so there is no basically what it says is, for example, value of capital employed, maybe we have like hundreds and thousands of machineries, and you only need a couple of people to run those machineries. And some people would have, I don't know, a chocolate making company where they need a lot of employees. So value of capital employed where they have less machinery and they need more employees working. So there is no perfect way to compare the size of the business. It is quite common to use more than one method to compare results obtained. So even though I've told you the limitations of all the ways to even though I've told you all the ways of comparing business sizes, none of them are perfect. Okay, and the size of the business does not, one thing cannot tell you the size of the business. It has to be a compound of all these. All right, with that we finish 1.3.2, method of measuring business sizes and the limitation of method of measuring business sizes. Now we come to the next part, 1.3.1, why some businesses grow and others remain small. Okay, now we come to the first point of this, why the owners of the business may want to expand their business. Okay, quite obvious, I would have thought, but the syllabus still wants me to explain, so I would explain. Why do owners often want their businesses to grow? Okay, very easy, the possibility of higher profits for their owners. Okay, you want higher profits, don't you? Like, for example, you open one supermarket in one area. Okay, you can only reach that area and you can only sell a limited amount of things. Okay, so what do? You open a branch in a different area, so now you're selling twice the things. Okay, so you grow. Okay, what happens when you grow? You make more profits. So that's the first point. Okay, why do business wants to grow? Because they want more profit for their owners. Second would be more status and prestigious for the owner and managers. Okay, so for example, you're a firm, okay, and you are expanding, you just expanded, your area manager would have a higher salary, wouldn't he? Right, because he's doing more work, so he would go like, I want higher salary. So more salary for the employees, for the manager, for example, and control, who controls the big firm, like he needs more salary. I used to control 200 people, now I'm controlling 400 people, I need more salary. So more money to the managers, more money to the shareholders, more money to the directors and all them lot. Okay, so that's why they expand, they want to expand. The more they expand, the more salary they get. So that's one of the things. Lower average cost. Okay, even though I will explain this in chapter 18, I think. Okay, but low average cost means, for example, if you were to make one of anything, right, if you want to make one of anything, it'll cost you more manpower, it'll cost you more, I don't know, time, and the process would be slow. If you were making, let's say, 1,000 of something, okay, you'll still almost need the same number of people. Okay, or maybe, for example, if you have 10 people making something, okay, and then, for example, you expand your business, okay, you won't need 20 people, you might need 15 people, okay, to make double the amount of things, you see. So that's why you might want to expand. For example, you get a for example, you had like 5 people, and these 5 people were making bread, and now you buy them a machinery. Okay, and now first they were making 10 breads. Now the same number of people can make 20 breads, and then maybe down the line, couple of years after that, you buy them a even bigger machine. You still need 5 people to run the machine. Okay, and now you're making 50 breads a day. Okay, and down the line you buy them even bigger machine. Now you need, like, let's say 6 or 7 people to make it. Okay, but now you're making, I don't know, 100 breads. Okay, so the more you produce, the lesser the cost would be for per piece. So economy of scale, we'll learn this later, but lower average cost. Okay, larger share of its market. So what is larger share of the market? So if you have a larger share of something, okay, for example, if your business holds more influence and has a larger share of something, you control that sector, you see. So you can put down prices, you can bring down prices, you can bring down prices of the raw materials. Okay, because now you are the king of that sector, right? So if you don't buy their product, nobody else would. Okay, and they obviously want to sell it to the biggest player. Okay, only by selling it to the biggest player would they actually make a lot of profit. Okay, by selling it to smaller players, well, not much, the so you can bring the prices down. You can go like, no, I won't pay you this much for it, I'll pay you this much for it. If you want it, fair enough. If you don't want it, I'll take my business somewhere else. Okay, but because you are such a big firm, they don't want you to take your business somewhere else. They want competition, they want to do business with you. So when they want to do business with you, they will bring their prices down only because you know you hold the market. So that is the answer to why some businesses want to grow. Now we come to the second point: how different ways in which business can grow, right? So I'll explain you the different ways on how a business can grow. Okay, number one can be internal growth. Internal growth is when, for example, a restaurant owner opens another restaurant in some other location. The example I just gave you a minute ago. Okay, so they will open first branch. Okay, they'll make profit on that branch. They'll use that profit, or maybe some more money, and they bring in investors and all, and open a second branch, and then open a third branch, and open a fourth branch, and open a fifth branch, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is called internal growth. Opening branches, expanding the business, that is called internal growth. There is an also called external growth. Involves taking over or merger with another business. Okay, so external growth is when you take over or merge with another business. Okay, so for example, your restaurant merges with another restaurant. Okay, maybe the other restaurant has one branch and you have one branch, so you merge with them and now you have two branches, and so on and so forth. You might both join together and and you might join together and open a fourth branch. Or maybe you have 5 branches and another business has 5 branches. Maybe in an example of a supermarket, okay, you have 5 outlets, okay, and another supermarket has 5 outlets. You join together, you merge into one name, and then you decide you take his name or he takes your name or whatever. All right, and that is called external growth or takeover or merger. Okay, so either you take over, when you take over, your company's name is used. When you merge, then you might choose a different name altogether, or you might take one company's name and merge your employees, your outlets, and everything together. Okay, so internal growth and external growth. Okay, there are more ways to grow. There is a merger. Now we're talking about mergers, right? So mergers, there are different types of mergers. Okay, a horizontal merger and a vertical merger. Okay, and a conglomerate merger. Okay, so there is horizontal, vertical, and conglomerate. Okay, so Let's talk about horizontal merger. That's quite easy. So let's cover this first. Horizontal merger is when a firm merges with or takes over from another in the same industry at the same stage of production. You know the stage of production, the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary. If you've seen my video before this, you've already know about this. Primary, secondary, and tertiary. So if you merge with the same stage of production, okay, then you, like for example, one business is a bit smaller, one business is big, okay, so they merge together to form even a bigger company. Okay, so they take this is called a horizontal merger. Okay, so for example, a restaurant merging with another restaurant. Okay, so that is called a horizontal merger. Okay, now we come to the more complicated of the mergers, is called vertical merger. Okay, vertical merger, okay, could be in two ways: vertical forward merger or vertical backwards merger. Okay, so now in this comes the play, what comes to play is the stages of production: the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary. Okay, I hopefully you've already read the last chapter and you already know about the primary, secondary, and tertiary merger, the tertiary stage. Okay, and then if you know about this, then this will become much easier. A vertical merger is when you're on, let's say, the first vertical forward merger is when you're in the first stage of production and you merge into the second stage, merge into a company that is on the second stage of production, or the third stage of production. Okay, so for example, you cut wood, right? You have a company that cuts wood in the forest, and then you have some money or you have investors, and then you merge into a company that is producing tables out of that wood. So you become one. Okay, so when you become a vertical forward merger, okay, so this will become a vertical forward merger, then you will cut wood and you will make furniture out of that wood. And then even if you go even further and you merge into another company that sells made furniture, then you yourself would cut your company would cut the wood, your company will make the furniture, and your company will sell the furniture. Okay, so that's called vertical forward merger. Okay, so when a woodcutter buys a factory or merges with another factory that produces furniture, that's called a vertical forward merger. Okay, and then there is another merger called vertical backwards merger. Okay, in this vertical backwards merger, for example, a showroom that sells furniture merges with the factory. Okay, this is called vertical backwards merger. Okay, so a guy selling the furniture merges with a factory that is producing the furniture. Okay, this is called vertical backwards. So you come from third stage to second, so that's vertical backwards. Okay, and then for example, a factory that is making furniture merges with a factory making cutting wood, that will become vertical backwards merger. Okay, so basically it depends on the perspective. You see, the perspective, which company are you talking about? If you're talking about the company that makes furniture and bought the company who cuts down trees, that's called backwards. If you're talking in the point of view of the company who's cutting down trees and merges with the company who's making tables, that's called vertical forward merger. So that's vertical merger for you. Now we talk about the last type of merger. It's called conglomerate merger. Okay, when a firm merges with or takes over a firm in a completely different industry. Okay, for example, if Samsung, you know Samsung, right? Samsung makes mobiles, and Samsung also makes laptops. So Samsung is diversified, right? So laptop has nothing to do with mobiles. Mobiles have nothing to do with laptops. Okay, but it's called diversification. Okay, so you merge with a company that does something else. Okay, so for example, Google. Everybody knows Google. Google is a search engine. Okay, it merged with WhatsApp, and now Google runs WhatsApp. Okay, so Google was a search engine, WhatsApp is a messaging software. Google has nothing to do with messaging. They merge. Now Google is diversified. It searches, it provides search engine, and it provides a messaging app. Okay, so that's that conglomerate merger. Okay, it doesn't always have to be the same industry, you see. So if Google was you've heard of Google Homes, right? So if Google makes Google Homes, Google Homes is something else. Google is a search, so Google is doing this and that. Google also makes routers. Google does a lot of stuff, okay, and in different industries, selling hardware. Google makes mobiles, okay. What has a search engine got to do with mobiles? Google gives you a search engine, and Google also gives you a mobile. Google even gives you an Android software. So Google is diversified. So this is called conglomerate merger, okay, where same one company merges with another company that does something else in a different part of, for example, a woodcutter merges with a wood making factory, furniture making factory merges with a mobile making company. Okay, so that's a different sector, that's a different thing, right? But why would a wood cutting factory merge into a completely different a company? Because they want to diversify. For example, if they run out of wood, they still have something to do. Okay, so that's why they would merge with a totally unrelated industry. So that's all for how businesses can grow. Different ways in businesses can grow. Okay, what are the benefits of horizontal integration? Okay, I would also tell you the advantages, horizontal advantages of horizontal integration. The merger reduces the number of competitors in the industry. So for example, you have 5 people doing the same thing, okay, and then 2 of them merge together, okay, and become a bigger company, okay, and then now you have how many people? 4 people doing the same thing, okay, but one has more market share because it took over one company. So advantages: it reduces the competitors in the industry. There are opportunities of economy of scale. Okay, so for example, if I was making wood, I had a wood making factory, and I was to buy another big wood making company. It will be a horizontal integration, and I would be making more furniture every day in both the with both the companies and the resources combined than I would be doing on my own. Okay, so economy of scale: the more things I make, the less it costs me to make them. Economy of scale would be in another chapter, so don't worry about that. Just understand that the opportunities for economy of scale. The combined business will have a bigger share of the total markets than either firm before the integration. So if let's say Apple and Samsung was to merge together, okay, they'll still be making mobiles, okay, but now they have a bigger market share because Apple users will be buying the same mobile and Samsung users will be buying the same mobile. That is unlikely, obviously, because one runs on Apple operating system and one runs on Android operating system, and they'll never be successful together. But if Samsung and let's say Hawaii join together, they would be a mammoth of a company, and then they would have more market share because Hawaii has a lot of market share and Samsung has a bigger market share. The best way to grow is for Samsung to buy Hawaii, okay, and when they combine together, they will become a big company, okay, and then they'll have more market share. With having more market share, they'll have economies of scale and everything working for them, and they will be really at a good advantage. Okay, now advantages of a forward vertical integration. Okay, forward vertical integration: the merger gives an assurance outlet to their products. The merger gives an assured outlet to their product. Okay, so for example, if industry, a wood making factory joins with the wood selling company, okay, and they combine together, they merge together, so whatever wood they make, whatever furniture they make, they will sell at that place. So that is a assured place to sell. They will definitely make it here and sell it in that outlet and nowhere else. Okay, so they will have an assured place to sell. The profit margins made by the retailer is absorbed by the expanded business. For example, if I'm making furniture, okay, I am keeping my cost and selling it at a lesser price to the furniture selling company. Okay, and then if they both merge together, they will be making the furniture and they will be selling the furniture, and the higher profit would be absorbed in the whole thing. Okay, so for example, if I was making this table and I was selling it for, let's say, $10, okay, and the company that bought from my factory and sold it forward for $20, okay, now I will be making the furniture and I will be selling it for $20 altogether. So I will be getting all the profits. Okay, instead of selling them for $10 and I sell for a lesser amount and they make more money out of it. Okay, I'll be making the whole lot of money. Okay, so profit margins would be absorbed. The retailer could be prevented from selling the retailer could be prevented from selling competing makes of cars. So for example, if a car seller buys an outlet, okay, if a car making company buys an outlet, it can stop him from making selling all the other cars and sell, like, you have to sell my brand because it's my company now, right? So if you have a vertical merger, okay, you can have an assured place to sell, plus you can tell them only sell my cars, do not sell anybody else's car. So there we are. That way your car would be sold more, you see. Information about customer needs and preferences can now be obtained directly by the manufacturer. Okay, so what happens is you are manufacturing something and then you're selling it to the retailer, and then the retailer is selling it to the customer, right? So you do not get to come in contact with the customer, and therefore you don't know what the customer wants, or you might know less, or you might know through the retailer what the customer wants. Okay, now if you buy the retailer, you're making something and you buy the retailer and you're selling your things on that. Now you're directly in contact with the retail or with the customer, and now what you would know firsthand on what the customer wants, so you can improve your things according to that. So that is an advantage of vertical integration. Now we come to the backwards integration. Okay, backwards integration. Okay, the advantages of backward: the merger gives an assured supply of important components. Okay, so for example, if I was making a mobile, I needed memory. Okay, I needed memory and somebody else was making memory and I bought their company. Okay, now I'll be sure whatever memory they make, they give it to me. They don't sell it to anybody else. Okay, so because that is my company now, because I just bought it. Okay, so if I buy backwards, like backwards vertical integration, okay, I am making a mobile, so I need to put memory in the mobile. So I buy the memory making company, so now they will sell all the memories to me. They will give all the memories to me. They won't sell it to me because it's my company, isn't it? So they will give it to me, right? They won't sell it to anybody else, right? So I can like cut down supply of anybody else, and I can become a monopoly. Anyway, that's that. The profit margin of the supplier is absorbed by the expanded business. You see, supplier, the guy who chops down the wood. No, we were on the example of mobile making business. The guy who makes the memory chips sells the memory chips to you on a profit. Now, when you buy his company, when you buy the backwards company, you then make the chip and you then use the chip. So you will get it at the manufacturer's price. You will you will get it at the raw materials price, really. You will not get it at a profit. So he won't be keeping a profit, you see, because now this is your company. Okay, so you are running that company, you're running this company. You will get the memory at the cheapest price possible, because they are making the memory only for you. Okay, the supplier could be prevented from supplying other manufacturers, so they can't supply there. They could be prevented from supplying it to any other company. So that's that. The cost of components and supplies the manufacturer could be controlled, right? So I could control, like for example, reduce quality or increase quality, and I can reduce the price and I can increase the price, and so on. If for example there was only one company making the memory, okay, and many people were making mobiles, but they were buying from that company, and I bought that company. Now I control every memory chip in this country. Okay, so if I make them only sell to me, then the other manufacturers cannot get a memory chip. So when they can't make a memory, when they can't get a memory chip, they can't make a mobile. So in other hand, I destroy their business and I get all the memory, and I can even control the price. For example, I can get it at a manufacturer's price and I can sell it to other people at an expensive rate. I can sell it to them for expensive rate. That way they will make expensive mobiles, my mobiles would be cheaper, or maybe I can sell it at the same price and get more profit out of it, right? So that is advantage of a backwards vertical integration. Now, conglomerate integration. The business now has activities in more than one industry. This means that the business has diversified its activities, and this will spread the risk taken by the businesses. Okay, so for example, I put my, let's say we put our legs in two different industries, right? So if one industry is, let's say it's seasonal, okay, so maybe it worked for 6 months and it doesn't work for 6 months, and the other one worked for 6 months and doesn't work for 6 months, and now I can have a foot in both industries. Okay, if for example the book gives this example called newspaper fell due to changing customer demands, sales of advertising and social networking sites would rise at the same time due to the increased interest in the form of communication. So for example, a news company buys a digital news company or a channel or something like that. Okay, so now people are moving on, they're coming to computers, they're coming to YouTube and all. So now nobody reads newspapers. So when nobody reads newspaper and the newspaper has already bought some digital asset, okay, now it can work in both. Okay, so it won't lose business altogether. It won't, the company won't sink. It'll simply make more profit from that and less profit from this, or maybe it'll close this and go to that, right? So if Google is making search engine, Google's making router, Google's making, I don't know, hot air balloons. Yes, Google's making hot air balloons. Don't even ask me where that goes. But anyway, so Google can do this or this or this or this. If the demand falls in this, Google will make more profit from this, and so on and so forth. Google will make more money from whichever demand goes higher at a given time. So diversifying in different categories is conglomerate integration, and this is the advantage. There might be a transfer of ideas between different sectors of business, even though they operate in different industries. Okay, for example, if a wood making company integrates with conglomerates with a fan making company, and they make fan that looks like wood, that's one of the advantages, that they make fans look like they're made of wood, or they give a wood texture to it. Okay, so they can like cross over ideas and stuff. So that's one of the processes, one of the advantages of conglomerate integration. That's about it actually. Now we understand different ways in which business can grow, and you know the advantages and disadvantages. So more power to you. Now we come to the next part called problems linked with business growth and how these might be overcome. Okay, as you can understand, not all business growth are successful. Okay, you might think they are, but not all of them are. Okay, I'll tell you why. Right? Larger business is difficult to control. Simple as that. Okay, larger business is very difficult to control. So now today, if you have a smaller business and you suddenly buy or integrate with a bigger business, and you do not have the business history to keep you together, right, it'll be very difficult to control them. And the process to overcome is operate the business in small units. This is a form of decentralization. Okay, so if you were to, uh, let's say you are a supermarket, right, a really big supermarket, and you buy another big supermarket, and now let's say you had 50 branches and you were controlling the 50 branches, and suddenly you bought another 50 branches from somebody else, or you integrated with them. For one person to sit on the top and control 100 branches is really difficult. Okay, so what do? The way to overcome it, okay, you run it into small units. Okay, so you divide it by country, you divide it by area, you divide it by, I don't know, sizes, you divide in different managers and all. So that's called decentralization. Okay, you divide it into small parts, you divide a bigger business into small parts. Okay, and keep managers to manage all sectors of that business. Okay, so that's one way to overcome the problem with large businesses. Okay, one is larger businesses lead to poor communication. Okay, so for example, imagine you had one shop. You have one shop, one grocery shop, for example, and it is very easy to communicate. Okay, because you are there, your employees are there, and you can see your employees and you can communicate with them and you can tell them what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and they're doing everything in front of you. Okay, now the business becomes big. Okay, now you have like two branches. One branch is in one part of the city, and one branch is in the other part of the city. From For you to go from this branch to another branch takes about half an hour or something, right, in traffic and all. Right, so what happens is you have poor communication. Now all the employees are not in front of you, plus you are divided into two parts. You half the time you spend here, half the time you spend there. When you're not here, people over here don't act professionally. When you over there, the people over there don't act professionally, and stuff like that, and you cannot communicate with them. You don't know exactly what mistakes they're making, how they're making it. So what happens here again? What is the solution? We operate the business in smaller units. Okay, we divide it into smaller units. Okay, and then we keep managers on that, and then we use the latest IT equipment. For example, barcode scanner. We scan every product before we sell it, so we can keep a record of it. We use CCTVs. Okay, so we can keep an eye on everything from here or there. We can keep an eye on both of them and stuff like that. So IT equipment and operate in smaller units. Expansion costs so much that the business is short of finance. Okay, so for example, you have one restaurant and then you go ahead and open another restaurant. Okay, and then suddenly you find out that the things that you want to buy for the second restaurant are very expensive, or maybe you didn't even imagine how much money you'll be spending. You didn't realize, and then now suddenly you're out of money, because first you only wanted to buy raw material for one restaurant, now you have to buy raw material for two restaurants, and then you run out of money because both of the businesses are high class businesses and you need to spend more money. Anyway, so what is the possible outcome, a possible solution for this? Expand more slowly, right? Expand slowly, use profits and slowly expand businesses to pay further for growth. Okay, so if you were to expand, let's say you were to expand from one, if you had 10 branches and you were to expand into 20, don't expand into 20, expand into 11. Expand one by one, slowly. Okay, after you already have 10 branches, you open one more branch. Make sure it is stable, make sure it has been working for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, 1 year, before moving on to another project and making another branch. 12 branch this is. Okay, if you already have 10 branches and you just open another 10 branches, you cannot manage all of them. Okay, it becomes very difficult, and then you might run out of money. Okay, so expand slowly and you'll be good on your way. Integration with another business is more difficult than expected different management styles and all. So if you uh, merge into another business and they manage their things differently and you manage your things differently, so it will be really difficult to understand their system, for them to understand your system, and to integrate your system into their system and their system into your system, and it will be really difficult. So that is one problem. And how to overcome it? Introduce a different style of management requires good communication with the workforce. They will need to understand the reason for the change. Okay, so for example, if two businesses use a different operating system, different software to run their businesses, and you integrate with them, so either make them use your software, or they make or you make use of their software. Basically unify the whole thing, and then the staff needs to be aware why they need to change the way they were working for so long. Why do they need to change it all of a sudden? Okay, so one way of doing it is, use your software for them, or make them use your software and get onto the same software. Introduce the new style, slowly make the workers learn, tell them why you need to change the style, so they do change the style, and so on and so forth. That covers problems linked with business growth and how they might be overcome. Okay, now we come to the last part, why some businesses remain small. Okay, not all businesses grow. Some businesses choose to remain small, or some businesses have to remain small. There could be three likely reasons: the type of industry the business operates in, the market size, and the owner's objectives. Okay, the type of industry the business operates in. Okay, so there are some businesses that need a personal touch to it. Okay, window cleaners, convenience stores, plumbers, caterers, they provide a somewhat personal touch, a personal, they treat each customer personally. They know their names, they know their addresses, they know about them, they know their family and all, right? So they go into their houses every day to fix a plumbing problem or something, right? So they need a personal touch, okay, which cannot be obtained if the company grows big, okay, or will be very difficult to operate, almost impossible to operate, because when the business size grows, the personal touch always goes off. Okay, so that could be one reason. Market size, the market size might be too small. Maybe you're living in a village and only 10 people use mobiles. Okay, so it's a very wrong example. For example, you live in a village and only 100 people use mobiles. Okay, to open a big showroom of mobiles is no good. Only 100 people use the mobile. So the market size could not be, maybe is not big enough. Okay, so you remain to stay small to be profitable. So you open a big showroom with loads of mobiles and cutting edge technology and everything, and nobody uses it. What good is it to anybody? Anyway, this might be the owner's objective. His objective might be to stay small. Okay, in case of Rolls-Royce, I just gave an example. In case of Rolls-Royce chooses to stay small. Why does it choose to stay small? Not because it doesn't make good cars. It makes good cars, it makes excellent cars, it makes very expensive cars. Okay, but their demand is only based on the number of cars. They make 300 cars a year, and that is their demand. That is the way they choose to be. They can make a bigger factory. Obviously, they're making a lot of profit, so they can make a bigger company, and they can make a bigger factory, and they can produce 6,000 Rolls-Royce a day. Okay, but they don't want to. They want to stay small. Okay, so that could be the reason. Now that covers our exercise 1.3.3, why some businesses grow and others remain small. Now we come to the last and very short part of the syllabus, 1.3.4, why some new or established business fail. Causes of business failure: lack of management skill, changes in the business environment, and liquidity problems. Okay, so why some businesses fail? Number one could be poor management. Okay, the syllabus says you have to lack of management skills, right? So poor management. So if you are a new business and you don't have much experience in running a business and you still start running a business, you might just fail because you don't have experience. You have not proven yourself, and you have a poor management. For example, you're taking too many holidays and stuff, okay? And your workers are not working properly. So poor management, you will fail. Okay. And why do some established businesses fail? Established businesses basically fail because maybe they've become too big and now they get bored by the business, and now their management has become too unprofitable, and obviously then it'll fail because you know the management doesn't concentrate on new ideas and all. So, and doesn't know how to manage people, and maybe at one time they were very profitable, and and they expanded and everything, okay, but now maybe they've gotten the wrong people, and now the people that they are employing are not very interested in the company, and they just want the salary and stuff, and they have a very poor management. So as soon as your poor management fails, your company fails, okay? Or it might not be that as soon as your management fails, as soon as your management becomes poor, your company fails immediately. No, it might take a lot of time. It might take 1 year, 2 year, 10 years, okay? Slowly coming down, okay? So that's for already established businesses, okay. Failure to plan for change, okay. So for example, you are a for example, you're a newspaper company, okay, and then everybody, nobody reads newspaper nowadays, and everybody's come to digital media, and you haven't planned ahead, okay. You're still on newspapers, right? You don't have a digital newspaper or something. You probably fail, right? So people change, community change, trend changes, and if you haven't planned for the change, you will most likely fail, okay. So that's one, when you failure to plan for change. Number third would be poor financial management, okay. So if somebody is stealing from you, if your managers are stealing from you, or they maybe they're giving themselves a lot of bonus and everything, because you're a big company and they work hard, and they take long holidays and give you and give themselves a lot of bonuses, and also poor financial management will make your company fail eventually. If you're a new entrepreneur and you don't take care of your costs, and maybe for example, you are a new entrepreneur and you suddenly hire 10 people on the first day, and you didn't realize that, oh, you need to pay them at the end of the month, so you become short of finance and you fail. Over expansion is one of the processes to fail. Why new businesses and established businesses fail? Over expansion. So maybe you open a new company, maybe you open two new companies together. For example, both of them make wood, but you open two different places. Or maybe you open a shop, supermarket, okay, but you open two of them together, right? So over expansion. Or maybe you had one shop and then you suddenly opened 10 more branches, and then you over expanded, and then you didn't realize that you actually needed a lot of finance, and you needed a lot of financial management, and you needed a lot of resources to actually get started. So over expansion is another big reason of failure. Risks to new business and startup. Many new businesses fail due to the lack of financial and other resources and research. In addition, the new owner of the business may lack the experience and decision making skills to manage of managers who work in a large business. So if you don't have managing skills, right, you are at a risk of shutting down, basically failing. Especially new businesses are at a greater risk of failing because you've never done this before, right? So you're a new business, you might never have done this before, and you suddenly open a new business and you have no idea how to run the business, so you fail. Simple. Okay, there's nothing to learn here, right? It's kind of common sense, isn't it? So you open a new business, you don't know how to run a business, you just opened it, and obviously the financial burden and the time that you didn't realize you had to give them so much time, to give the business so much time, and then you eventually lose. All right, that covers 1.3.4, why some new or established businesses fail. And with this, we come to the end of the chapter 1.3. If, and I doubt it, if you made it this far, I think you have got a lot of clear concepts. Okay. And if I, to end this chapter, I'll give you an advice. Okay. Don't sit there with a copy making notes. Okay. You don't need notes. Okay. You don't need to learn. Okay. Learning is when I give you, for example, I tell you, somebody gives you a term and gives you a dictionary explanation of that term, and you sit down and write it down and start learning it and start learning it and start learning it. No. So this is not the way I want you to learn. Okay. The way I want you to learn, okay, is understand what I am talking about. Understand the concept of the word. As soon as you understand the concept of the word, as soon as you understand what it does, you don't actually need to learn it. For example, vertical integration. Okay, so backwards company integrating into a forwards company. Okay, so backwards, forwards, vertical. Okay, fine, fair enough. Vertical forward, vertical backwards, vertical forward, integrating into a forward company, vertical backwards, integrating into a backward company. There is nothing to learn. Okay, it is all common sense. Okay, you don't need notes, you don't need pen and paper, you don't need to sit down and start making notes and oh my god, I will forget it at the moment. No, understand the gist of the conversation. Okay, understand what I am saying instead of the words I am saying. Don't write down the words I'm saying. I'll give you notes at the end. Look in the description below, there'll be notes in the end. You don't need those notes. Okay, you don't need them. Okay, all you need to do is listen to me carefully, get the gist of the conversation, and not hang on the words. Okay, don't hang on the words. Okay, understand the gist of the conversation so you can understand what the word means and how it means. Business studies is basically common sense and not a lot of learning and lots of note taking. Okay, so understand the gist of the conversation. There'll be notes below. You can look at the notes. There'll be a part of the part that we're learning of the syllabus would be there at the below. The timestamps would be there in the description. So for example, if you miss one part, or maybe, I know this video is really long, so you can't sit through the whole thing in one session. Maybe you need different sessions. Maybe you go for a lunch break or something. You can start it with on the same place. The scroll bar would have all where I start and where I stop a topic. All right, so don't worry about taking notes. Just understand. If you don't understand, leave me a comment below. I will sort it out. I will make you understand it. If I can't make you understand, I'll make you a video on it. I'll make you a separate video out of this course, okay, to make you understand it. Okay, so leave a comment below. If you are getting an advantage from this video, drop me a line so I can realize that people are getting an advantage from this so I can make more subjects and more basically to encourage me, to motivate me. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Been a long video. Hopefully you made it to the end. This is your host Mohsin Bukhari signing off.